welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Fight Back. And we're going to show you in the next half hour that a dangerous chemical waste site could be in your backyard and what you can do about it. We'll see if this full-size tent can be completely put together in just 10 minutes, as they claim in the ad. And we'll find out how one person is fighting back against neighborhood crime with an unlikely protector. We're going to have all this and a lot more right after this break. And then we'll be back. The ads make it seem like camping is the perfect vacation, out in the wild, close to nature. But I'll bet if you took a poll among your friends, you'd find that most people would rather spend their vacation time in a luxurious hotel or condominium. But according to this ad that was sent by Barbara Locke of San Diego, it is not as difficult as you might think to put up that tent. Eureka claims its 10 by 10 Space Saver tent can be completely assembled and ready to move into in just 10 minutes. Well, Barbara Locke doesn't believe that claim, and she wants us to check it out. So we challenged it. We picked a scenic spot for our challenge and asked a Eureka representative to help us out. Jeff Everett with Eureka Tent. We're going to try to put the Space 2 together in 10 minutes. Now, I want to ask you, how many times have you done this before?
About a dozen times.
About a dozen times. You a little nervous?
A little bit.
Okay. We're going to run a stopwatch on you for exactly 10 minutes and see if you can put it together. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go to it. Start. Jeff and his wife, Susan, confidently went to work. Remember, they only have 10 minutes to prove their claim. But they're professionals. They've done this before. What about amateurs? To find out, we also had Fight Back producers Lloyd Thaxton and Gil Cofrancesco try it. And they've never put up a tent in their lives. After 2 minutes, Jeff and Susan seemed very well on their way. Though almost at the same point, Lloyd and Gil
Look out, Lloyd.
don't look quite as confident.
Okay, let's go with it like that.
At 3 minutes, the pros are making real progress. But our amateurs seem to be in trouble.
Oh, yeah? Now you put yours in.
All right.
At 5 minutes, Jeff and Susan, stakes-driven, seem to be already putting on the finishing touches, and it's only halfway into their 10-minute limit. But lo and behold, Lloyd and Gil have caught up. Could this be possible? At 6 minutes, Jeff carefully anchors the guy ropes. But our team appears to be having a few difficulties.
Okay, I need you.
Wait a minute, I need you over here. Wait a minute.
At 7 minutes and 15 seconds, it looks like the pros are about to finish.
That's it.
Jeff, Susan, you did it in 7 minutes and 22 seconds. But the clock is still running on our amateurs. Can they keep fooling around like this
Oh, look.
and still meet the 10-minute limit?
All right, sorry, Gil.
With 1 minute left, will they finish?
Okay, I need a stake right here.
I need one here. Where do you need the stake?
Put a stake right out there.
30 seconds to go.
Stake in the back?
Yeah, it's in there.
Is that it?
They did it! 9 minutes and 37 seconds. In less than 10 minutes, this peaceful knoll was transformed into a campsite. Eureka! They passed the Fight Back Challenge. Lloyd and Gil did have an advantage over someone who never put up the tent before. They did it after they watched Jeff and Susan do it. But by the time the average buyer would take it out of the case and read the instruction, it would most likely take much longer. However, the Eureka Space Saver tent is not inexpensive. It retails for about $500. The company suggests you get a demonstration at the store before you buy it. I think that's a good idea, whether you're buying this tent or any other do-it-yourself product. I want to thank Eureka, which, by the way, is a subsidiary of the Johnson Wax Company. They put themselves on the line by doing the challenge in front of our cameras. It showed that they have confidence not only in the quality of the product, but in the truth of their advertising. And to Barbara Locke of San Diego, California, goes a Fight Back t-shirt for sending us this challenge. You know, we get a lot of mail bringing our attention to all kinds of problems. Now, not all of it concerns major problems. A lot of it concerns small problems that bug us, the little things that get us really uptight. Ruth Reed sent in this oil can opener and funnel that she bought, and she said, I hope you have better luck finding an oil can it would fit than I did. We bought 6 different brands of oil, and this cover did not fit any of them. Well, Ruth, we're going to try. We have some Pennzoil here. Let's see if it fits. No luck, folks. Let's go over to the Valvoline. Doesn't work there either. Let's go over to the Shell. I'm bending in the can. It doesn't work. And let's go to the Castrol. Now, you want to know something? That would not only bug you, it really bugged me. Here's another one. Another item that really got one of our viewers upset. It comes from Lynn Otto, who bought this stick-on clock for $4.99. When it failed to work, she checked the warranty. The repair was free, but it says, return with a check for $5.50 to cover handling, packing, and insurance, and postage. Well, that's more than she paid for it in the first place. And here's another one. And this situation has happened to all of us. You go to the supermarket, you reach for a shopping cart and get one that is either so rusted that you don't want to touch it, or the wheels are so bent out of shape you can't push it. Has it ever happened to you? Now, what do you do about this? Well, one of the reasons that supermarket carts fall apart is that they're used not only to take the groceries to the car, but also to walk all the way home to be left abandoned in all kinds of weather or stolen. And unless a person is granted special permission to do this, this is nothing but outright theft. In California, they are finally doing something about it. Most people who take shopping carts from the markets aren't hardened criminal types. They're usually people who live in the neighborhood. They don't drive to the store, so when they buy more than they can carry home easily, the natural thing to do is take the groceries home in a cart. It's convenient, but it's also stealing. A new California state law gives police authority to stop anyone pushing a shopping cart away from a market. Those who do not have written permission from the store may be cited and fined as much as $1,000. The state law also provides for jail sentences of up to a year in the county jail, just for stealing shopping carts. The stores are determined to get those carts back. The California Grocers Association has mounted an ad campaign asking shoppers to call and report any time they see a shopping cart abandoned on the street. The markets also hire outside companies to pick up those carts and haul them back to the stores. Under the new California law, those companies must be licensed and have a written agreement with each market, authorizing them to retrieve their shopping carts. One service told us its trucks pick up about 200 carts a day. That's what California is doing about it, and the same idea is being considered in several other states. It's not only irritating to find a rusted cart or a damaged one. Each cart costs the market about $100 to replace, and you're paying for it every time you check out. Now, what about the faulty oil can and funnel? And, of course, the watch warranty. We called Custom Accessories in Lincolnwood, Illinois, who supply these funnels, and they admitted that they goofed. They have corrected the problem and told us that anyone who purchased one of these items can return it to the store for a full refund. Now, as far as the watch warranty is concerned, it is ridiculous. As a matter of fact, some states have consumer warranty laws requiring companies to provide a local place where merchandise can be repaired, eliminating the need to pay for shipping and handling. And several companies have already been prosecuted under these laws. In most cases, it's a good law, and if your state doesn't have one, perhaps you should write to your local elected state representative and ask them to get on the stick. The bottom line, even though most companies will make up for their mistakes by refunding money or replacing items, they never seem to offer to make up for all the lost time, effort, and anxiety that we go through after we buy this stuff. Well, Lynn Otto and Ruth Reed, to make up for the time and effort it took you to send these little things that were bugging you to us, we're going to send each of you a Fight Back t-shirt. And we'll be right back to fight back after this short break. Can you imagine? Fighting back means getting involved. If you spot something that looks like it should be brought to the attention of government or business, you just can't wait and hope that the other guy is going to do it. A Los Angeles viewer who is a chemical expert brought something to my attention he thought was a hazard to the community. He came to me because he couldn't get satisfaction elsewhere. It was a worthwhile investigation, and as the story developed, it proved to have national significance and importance to all of us. Transformers containing highly toxic PCBs were stored in this Los Angeles neighborhood on federal government property, used by the Veterans Administration. A major highway was only a few hundred yards away. One of the busiest streets in Los Angeles was also nearby. A university practice field, used year-round by thousands of people, was just adjacent to where the PCB transformers were stored. There were no warning signs, although federal law requires it. The only hint of the hazard were these yellow stickers attached to each corroding transformer. Unless someone was aware of the danger of PCB, they could come in contact with a carcinogenic chemical without even realizing it. Are you aware of the extreme hazard and toxicity of the PCB in these transformers?
Yes, we are.
And yet they have been sitting here for 2 years.
That's correct.
I can't understand that. Maybe you can explain why.
Well, it's my understanding that unless these transformers are leaking, there isn't any real problem.
We're standing here in front of some of these transformers, and I see some massive amounts of leakage of PCB coming out of these transformers, unless that liquid is something else. And, you know, an expert tells us that that's PCB.
I can agree with what you're saying there. And after these transformers are removed, all this blacktop will have to be disposed of.
How hazardous is this material in these transformers?
Very hazardous. This is one of the most carcinogenic substances known to man. This material is leaking here, running out. There's probably 25,000 pounds of material in here. There's no berms in this area. The material's leaching into the blacktop. Every time there's a rain, it runs off in the parking lot. All these employees here are exposed to this material on the surface of the earth. When they get in their cars, they have it on their shoes. They get in their vehicles, they go home, they walk on their rugs. Their children play on their rugs. They're exposing their families to PCB direct exposure.
After I exposed this danger on my news program, the wheels of the bureaucracy started to turn very quickly. Following my exclusive reports, the transformers were finally removed. Even the pavement they were sitting on has now been ripped up and hauled away for incineration and disposal. But that doesn't end the threat. No one knows yet how much of the surrounding land may be contaminated. Yes, the power of mass public exposure. The danger was removed fast after it was reported, but the PCB transformers had been there for over 2 years. I have to think that if our viewer, George Roberts, hadn't alerted me to those transformers, they would still be sitting in that VA parking lot. But that's not the end. These reports aroused another citizen to become involved. Viewer Dorothy Bernard, in another section of Los Angeles, noticed old transformers in her neighbor's backyard like the ones that she saw in my report. Dorothy told me that the old electrical transformers have been lying around her neighbor's backyard for close to 15 years, but she never paid much attention to them. Then, after watching my exclusive reports, she took a closer look. The transformer tanks were leaking.
I contacted the DWP. They sent a man out immediately, and he looked at them. He said, well, they don't belong to us, and they're on a private property, so there's nothing we can do about it.
Mrs. Bernard called my office, and we called the Public Health Department. The next day, a county inspector confirmed the old transformers were in fact leaking PCBs.
I'm a little afraid. I'm frightened of it. I don't want to get cancer, and I don't want to lose my dog with cancer. Because she does run up and down the fence there all the time.
It may be coincidence that the woman who lived next door where those PCB transformers were stored died of cancer. It may be coincidence that at least 3 of her pets died of cancer. But it was enough to worry Dorothy Bernard, and she called me. I reported it to the officials, and they quickly went to work. The cleanup crew hired to dispose of the capacitors had to take special precautions against contamination.
Once you identify positively that there are PCBs, especially in a private residential area, and that there is some leaking, as there was here, then there's no point in taking any further chances. You want to take as many precautions as you think are wise. That's why the respirators are being used. That's why the protective clothing is being used. That's why the crew here is going to take 3 inches of soil on the outside of the concrete lip where the capacitors were being stored. And it is a public health measure.
Each capacitor was lifted carefully out of the owner's yard, placed in a steel container, and packed with absorbent material. Then the drums are sealed for eventual shipment to a special facility in Arkansas. There they will be burned at very high temperatures, drums and all. That's how seriously public health officials take handling and disposal of chemicals like PCBs. Another example of how serious a spill of toxic waste is considered is illustrated very clearly in this recent news item. As soon as this spill of dangerous PCBs was discovered on the pavement of a Los Angeles City street, a special toxic waste cleanup crew was immediately dispatched to not only clean it up, but to completely rip up the pavement and put it in special drums to be shipped out of state to a chemical waste disposal facility to be incinerated. I use this story as an example of how you, as a citizen, can fight back by getting involved. Because of budget cutbacks, government agencies can't always check all the hazards to our health. They need our help. If you ever see anything that could be a threat to yourself and others, do what our alert viewers did. If government or industry doesn't listen, maybe your local newspaper, television station, or radio station will. If you want to help, you have to fight back yourself. And we'll be right back after this break. We've done so many stories on how you can fight back against crime. We've examined the neighborhood watch programs, burglar alarms, window bars, special locks, and even guard dogs. Now, we want you to meet a person who has found what he considers a unique idea to protect his home. In the never-ending fight against crime, many people have turned to the use of guard dogs, but sometimes they can be vicious and more trouble than they're worth. A man in Venice, California just might have found something new. These 2 seemingly innocent creatures are not what they appear to be.
Spike, Muffin, come on. Come on.
They are here to prevent foul play. They are guard geese.
In the area I live in, there's a element of danger involved in people being followed home and burglarized and held up at gunpoint, all of which happened to me in less than 2 years. I put bars up on the windows. I got a floodlight and put it on a timer for the backyard, illuminate the whole area. I put padlocks on all the gates. You know, still, the things kept happening. But I'm told by people who've had geese that the older they get, the meaner, the ornerier, and the less discriminating they become in who they attack. And I'm told can break a man's arm. Though I've only had them about 4.5 months, I raised them from goslings. They've been very effective so far. So I fully expect them to get mean enough to do the job that any dog would do, probably better, because there are 2 of them and they back each other up.
If you're afraid of having a ferocious guard dog, you might just consider guard geese. They'll help you sleep better 2 ways. They'll protect your home, and they could provide down for your pillows.
I'm down, I'm really down. I'm down, on the ground. I'm down, I'm really down. How can you laugh when you know I'm down?
Geese might not work for you. But get involved in some anti-crime program to protect your home, family, and community. Your local police department can supply you with details. All you have to do is call. And speaking about calling, the clock is calling us. We're all out of time, but remember, stay aware and informed, and fight back and don't let anyone rip you off. Does anyone here have cards? If there's something you want us to look into, or if you're going to be in Burbank and would like tickets to our program, here's our address. Fight Back, Burbank, California. Our zip code is 91523.